Okay, perfect. First, I'd like to, if I could just have 1 second, we have a new member of TEA that is joining us this morning. So you'll see him on there. His name is Charlie Kusha, and he is, as of yesterday, come over to be on the ESC and stakeholder support team. So that's the team that where I'm located. And I asked him if he could come today and just be a shadow and meet you lovely people and see what the CAC is all about. So welcome, Charlie. We're glad you could be here with us this morning.
Morning, everyone. Glad to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Charlie.
Okay, Amy, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, welcome to today's February meeting of the Continuing Advisory Committee for TEA. I'm excited that we're all here today. I'm excited that we get to do some of our annual business. Who's excited about elections? And I'm excited that we get to refresh and restart our work to help kids in Texas get a better education. So, Stephanie, would you like to go over our purpose and our meeting agenda?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so CAC members' duties. You advise TEA of unmet needs within the state and the education of children with disabilities. You comment publicly on any rules or regulations proposed by the state regarding the education of children with disabilities. You advise TEA in developing evaluations and reporting on data to the Secretary under Section 618 of the Act. Advise TEA in developing corrective action plans to address findings identified in federal monitoring reports under Part B of the Act. Advise TEA in developing and implementing policies relating to the coordination of services for children with disabilities. And advise TEA in setting standards related to significant disproportionality determination. Today's meeting is as follows. We have our welcome and opening, which we just had. I'm going to go over the agenda and just talked about the meeting guidelines. So first, we're going to have some updates from TEA. We have Kristen McGuire with us this morning. And then we're going to have public comments, if any. If anyone is on here that would like to make a public comment, or if you're physically at ESC 13, if you would let the chair or the vice chair know that you would like to make a public comment. Public comments will be received from 9 to 9:30, and then they will be heard after TEA updates. Following that, we will have CAC officer elections of the chair, vice chair, and secretary. Then we'll review and approve the meeting minutes, discuss, recommend, take possible action on current meetings and future meeting topics, and set future dates, and then adjourn. So that is what's on the agenda for today.
Okay. So, are we ready for TEA updates then?
Sure. Kristen, would you like to? Good morning,
Yeah.
Kristen. Welcome.
Good morning. Hope everyone is staying warm. It's way too cold for my taste, but the weather did not ask me what my preference was. So here we are. So hope everybody is staying warm, and appreciate you joining me. I think you can you see my slide deck? Okay. All right. So I just prepared some general updates for you on some of our kind of goings on, and happy to share this deck with Stephanie to then share with you if you would like. Also, we'll continue to keep you updated as we move along through the session. Right now, of course, with the session, no kind of real active movement on legislation yet, which is fairly typical for this time in the session just because we have a lot of bills, but the House just formed their committees last week. So we expect that to start start to move here pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks. So just in terms of a couple of rule updates that we've made in the last few months, just one to keep you informed about is a rule regarding our state facilitated IEP process. We did change some rules in the last few months around kind of when the state facilitation process could be used. And so originally or prior to this amendment, it was not allowed to be used for these purposes here listed in the bullets, but it now is allowed. So this is a facilitation process, of course, that has to be agreed upon by both parties, but it can be requested. And then an independent facilitator would be assigned if they are available. We made some recent changes to our graduation rule in relation to students with disabilities. That is in 89.1070 of the Texas Administrative Code. And so really it was more clarification than anything else in terms of just kind of questions we had received from the field. So we wanted to make sure we clarified what the intent had been. And so you will be able to kind of look at those amendments. And then I wanted to just let you know of some project updates that we have going on. The Parent-Directed Special Education Services Program, so PDSES, this is known in statute currently as Supplemental Special Education Services. So you've heard it probably referred to as SSES. We kind of changed how we administer the program with that name to PDSES just because we wanted to make sure we were kind of truly referencing what the program is. So the application window for PDSES is now open. So that is open until March 31st. So we have received over 40,000 applications so far since February 3rd when it opened. So the word is out that it is available. So I encourage you to let your stakeholders and your networks know that that application is out. In terms of some grant opportunities, just wanted to let you know that currently there is we have many grants that are out in implementation right now and being administered, but one that is currently open is a window around early childhood special education. So there are funds available to help LEAs and service centers get training on particular ECSE, early childhood issues and topics, as well as helping cover costs of certification exams and then other types of training. So that is currently an application window that's open for our LEAs, which of course LEAs include districts and charter schools, and also our service centers. We have, as most of you know, we've had some autism grants that were specifically appropriated in our state budget for the last several years. And so currently we have our 2024-2026 cycle of grants going on. There was 20 million appropriated across the biennium for those, and 10 applications were awarded. And so we will continue to track the administration and sort of implementation of those grants and be able to give you some more information about kind of what those funds were used for as we continue to monitor those. Other project highlights that are fairly recent is, of course, last session there was legislation passed around the Driving with Disability program. This again, of course, added a component that school districts need to let families know about this program if they have students who may have a impairment that may impede communication with peace officers. And so we've created some resources around that for our school districts to communicate that. We are continuing to work on some updates to the Texas Transition and Employment Guide, so we will publish that later this school year as well. And then just some general deaf and hard of hearing resource updates. We did launch a new grant with the University of Houston to develop some self-paced online modules for teachers of the deaf and hard of hearing. And so that is currently open for a 2025 start. And then the deafblind supplemental teacher certification is launching in September of 2025. And so our state board for educator certification is making those, final tweaks to get that certification available. One of the things that we have actively pursued at the agency is to get support within our regional service centers. Of course, there are 20 across the state. And so we have what we call special education liaisons, and then we have a newer type of position called strategic integration liaisons, and so or SILs. And so these positions work both in kind of compliance assistance as well as student outcome, targeting student outcomes and how the service centers can help support with your kind of systems level changes that might need to be made to improve student outcomes. And so we're excited that the SILs is at the point where we are actively engaging those positions within the ESCs, and that they are now available to help support LEAs in their region. In terms of some resources just launched fairly recently, we have some collaboration and flexible grouping courses that were developed that give some good detail to both special educators and general educators around, as well as instructional leaders, around how to develop skills in collaboration and those flexible grouping decisions and data-driven decision-making. We also have some kind of quick snippets of videos that we've created around, we're calling them quick learns, that go over kind of some of these major components of special education and sort of the best practices around co-teaching and the core principles of that dynamic. So those are recently out. Of course, you can find reference to these in our Texas Sped Support website. We did launch fairly recently an AT support website that talks about, it gives resources on assistive technology, devices and resources, and as well as kind of integrating those into the school system. So we're excited to kind of see we're at sort of the baseline posting of that and kind of see where that might take us. As I've mentioned before, the state is transitioning away from using a disability eligibility category of non-categorical for our early childhood learners to developmental delay. Now, of course, these are not the same definition. They're quite different. And so we have created a kind of quick guide and frequently asked questions document to accompany that change. And then a kind of quick guide on students who transfer. We get a lot of questions from the field about what schools need to do for kids that transfer in from in-state or out of state. I realize I still left the coming soon on that, but that is actually posted on Texas Sped Support now, if you have any interest in that. Excited about being able to do this. So this is an effort that we are launching to get more kind of devices and supplies and resources into the hands of our LEAs for students with visual impairments. So we are in the process of procuring these refreshable Braille Monarch tablets for students whose primary medium is Braille. So currently in the state, we have 338 students who have been reported that Braille is their primary medium. So we are in the process of procuring those, which are valued between $15,000 and $18,000 each, to get those into the hands of our students, as well as providing training to their teachers around the use of those tablets. So definitely excited to see how we can best support the use of those if that is something that works for those students. And then we are purchasing specific kind of early readers that offer Braille we are getting those to service centers so that our LEAs can check those out from their service centers. So these are books that look the same as other early readers and just happen to have Braille. So we're hoping that we can get some more resources out to the field in relation to those early readers and being inclusive of the classroom settings. Again, as I referenced, Texas Sped Support is the website that houses most of our resources around special education for the field, for our practitioners. So encourage you to look up any information that you'd be interested in on that website. All of this data, I think I've shown you before. I just put it in here just as a reference point so that you have it if you wanted to access that. So essentially the number of students identified for special education. We do not yet have the 2024-25 numbers that, as of the October fall snapshot. We'll get that here in the next few weeks, I believe. So next meeting, I will probably have some updated numbers. And then evaluations. This is the number of initial special education evaluations that were completed in previous school years. And then I know I've talked through these next several slides around identification of dyslexia specifically and kind of what the service delivery and programs those students were identified under. And then, of course, the primary disability categories that we see within the state stay fairly stable, do switch a little bit from time to time, but we do, of course, continue to have specific learning disability as the sort of top identified disability or primary disability through special education, and then you'll see the others below that. This is in relation to state assessment and how students with disabilities who are served through special education are faring. So again, we continue to focus on how we can help support the improvement of student outcomes, one of which, of course, is the state assessment, but obviously not the end all be all. And then graduation and dropout rate comparison as well. So those are quick updates I have for you. I'm happy to try and take any questions or feedback. Otherwise, I will let you get on with your meeting.
Does anyone have any questions for Kristen?
Yes, Amy, this is Kevin with TWC. I did have a couple of questions. Kristen, you said that you would be able to share the slide deck with us, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, awesome. The other question I had was on your comments relating to the Braille display devices. I think you mentioned Monarch tablets or something like that. That's
Yes.
something I'm not familiar with. Is that a relatively new piece of technology? I mean, I'm aware of the Braille displays that interface with a laptop or with an iPad or something like that. But is this kind of a next level or next generation?
Yes, that's definitely my understanding, and I can send you more information about these tablets from our specialist who works who focuses in this area. But yeah, this is we would, as far as I understand, we would be the first state in getting all of our students whose primary medium is Braille these particular devices.
Okay, wow. And you said they're like 15,000 a copy or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they're quite pricey, but they, from, you know, what our specialist has gathered from his national conversations, as that because they are, you know, refreshable, and because of the use, they look kind of like iPads, basically.
Right.
That they are, you know, definitely something worth exploring and keeping up. So, you know, we're willing to kind of invest in that and see how we can help support. And then, you know, if that, you know, if that continues, that it is kind of this, you know, more innovative technology and continues on that path, we will continue to purchase those as students, you know, enter and exit.
Okay, excellent. No, I appreciate the information. I'm not aware whether or not it's on our approved AT devices, but I'm certainly going to follow up on it because that sounds like a really innovative device. So that's great.
Yeah, I'll definitely send some information through Stephanie to send to you.
Thank
It
you.
would it would be really awesome if we could get like interviews from or like data from the students that actually use it once we actually have the equipment, because
Yes.
it's one thing for, you know, the state of Texas to buy this new state-of-the-art thing, but
Yep.
if it doesn't work for people, we need to know that.
Absolutely agree. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Or
So
why
we
they
will.
like it,
Yes,
too,
yes,
because then we can add more to the budget potentially if we can prove that people actually are benefiting from it. So,
absolutely. Yes, I agree. And we will make sure and do that and continue to keep you posted on that,
thank you.
Thank you.
of course.
Anyone else?
Okay, I don't see anyone else. So thank you so much, Kristen, for being here. I appreciate that. And whenever you have an opportunity to get that deck to me, I will send it to all of the CAC members.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you. Thanks. All right, Amy, in checking my email, the CAC inbox, I do not have anybody that has notified me that they would like to make a public comment. So I don't know if you have anybody there physically with you that would like to make a public comment.
No one has come to us, so
Okay,
I think it's time to move to our next agenda item.
okay. All right, so no public comment. So now we will have CAC elections. The roles are chair, vice chair, and secretary. So I had emailed you guys a list of what those duties look like. I had pulled them off the bylaws. So you should have had an opportunity to review those. And typically, the way that this has worked before, if anybody wants a particular role, you just say it, and then people can put in the chat, yay or nay. And that's kind of how we've done it before. So, Amy, which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start with secretary and move that way, or do you have a preference?
Start with secretary.
Okay, so is there anybody that is interested in being the secretary?
Stephanie, I'd like to continue in that role.
Okay, so Janie has expressed a desire to continue. She's the current secretary. So if you could drop in chat, if you agree with that, you can just send a yes. Or if you do not agree with that, you can send a no. And then I'll take a look at those. Okay, so looks like the majority has voted yes. So congratulations, Janie. You continue to be our secretary. Thank you for offering to fill that role. Okay, we can move on to vice chair. Currently, Erin is vice chair. So any interest from anybody who would like to be vice chair?
And vice chair doesn't have any particular length of service terms on it. Right, like the chair does.
Correct. Anybody can be vice chair. Correct.
I'm happy to continue serving in that role if folks would like me to.
Oh, thank you, Erin. Anybody else like to throw their name in the hat? No? Okay, so if you are in favor of Erin continuing in the role of vice chair, please put that in chat. Okay, Erin, it looks like the yeses have it. So congratulations. Thank you for offering to fill that role again this year. We appreciate your service to the CAC. And last but not least, we have the chair, the position of chair. Currently, we know that is Amy. Anybody want to throw their name out there for chair?
And you have to have served on the committee for at least a year.
Correct.
I'd like to nominate Amy and continue her position. It takes a lot of dedication, especially in this cold weather, and
Yes.
being there.
Yeah, you're right, Jane. Yeah. So if you Amy, do you accept that nomination?
I will accept if no one else feels led to venture.
Okay. All right. Well, you're already getting some yeses in the chat, Amy. Yes to Amy.
Right.
Yes to Amy as chair. Yes for Amy. Yes for Amy. You've got your cheerleading squad going on. So it looks like
Right. Well,
the
thanks for
yeses
the
have
vote
it.
of confidence, guys.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations, Ms. Amy. You are the chair. So thank you. All right. So it's going to remain the same as it was last year. That'll be easy to remember. Jamie as secretary, Erin as vice chair, and Amy as chair. So thanks, guys, for your votes. Appreciate it. Right. The next thing is, unless you have any other business, we didn't have any other business items up here today. It would be to review and approve the minutes. Unless you want to talk about possible dates for a next meeting and then any items that you would like to have discussed at the next meeting. We can do that first because then it could be captured in the minutes. Yes, Erin.
Stephanie, real quick.
Yes.
When will our annual report be posted to the website?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate it. Right now, it's with the governance division, and once they post it on their website, they'll let me know, and then I'll have it posted on the CAC website. So I can shoot you guys an email once that happens, and then I can actually attach the final report if that would be helpful. That way you don't have to go back and keep checking the website.
And a link to the website, please.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. No problem. So do we want to consider possible dates
Or agenda items.
or agenda items, either one? Got my pen ready to take notes.
We've usually done it in June, assuming that the legislature finishes on time.
Okay.
That's my recollection, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of which, would you like me to give a presentation on bill highlights? Or do we think that'll be too soon because we'll have the fall session?
Amy, are you asking for our next meeting or right now?
For our next meeting,
Oh.
because it'll be in June.
Do you have that information available right now, Amy? Because if you do, that would be excellent.
Well, it's still too early just because we just formed committees in the House. But I'm thinking by the time we get to June, we might even have some signed. So that's why we didn't put it on today's agenda.
Okay, we can add it to the June agenda and then whatever you have available at the time, if you would like to share,
Right.
that'd be, I think,
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing you say. It's your agenda, you tell me, but I've tentatively put that
Yeah,
down.
we'll put that down and we'll see
Okay.
what we have.
Okay, perfect.
There may be a coming soon,
Right,
another session.
right.
But we'll see.
Some sort of presentation and discussion
What's happening.
of legislation that did or did not pass in this session.
Yeah. Is there anything we need to hear from TEA for June? Do we have any questions that we want updated? Perhaps from today?
Maybe in light of just the current dynamics with the Department of Ed, if there's any updates, by then, maybe things have kind of settled and we'll kind of know the lay of the land, but maybe some sort of update related to the federal arm of the Department of
Yeah,
Ed.
so federal updates.
Okay, I have written that down.
We don't know that we'll have new appointees in June. But if we do, we should give them some time to introduce themselves.
Okay. All right, I have that. Anything else?
A question for the committee at large. Is there any external group that you would like to invite to make a presentation to the committee that would help us formulate the next set of policy recommendations, or that you would like a follow-up on the policy recommendations we just made?
That might be a homework activity between the meetings, is to reread the report and email us back with, oh, I want to follow up on fill in the blank. And then that can help us add to future agendas.
Do we want to put Amy, kind of in that vein, do we want to put an agenda item for June that is basically a discussion and possible action on following up from this past report's recommendations?
Yes, I think a formal discussion needs to happen, especially for open meetings.
Amy and Aaron, this is my first go around with CAC, during session. But how typically and historically, how is the report viewed, and how is it as it interact with the current process?
Well, that's a good question to ask me, because when I'm not the chair, I'm also a policy advocate professionally, so I don't typically go around advocating as the chair of the committee, but I do often pick out specific recommendations that are in line with other advocacy coalitions, and say, you know, the CAC also thinks this is a good idea
Okay.
as a group, or, you know, the CAC has this information in the report that lends itself. So I don't necessarily say that, you know, we agree with such and such coalition, but I say that we are highlighting specific areas that need work that are supported by these other advocates. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. I think so. It's I guess I'll learn more in June on, you know, maybe how the report was used or in
Yeah.
what ways.
I know that it typically gets read. I've never seen it referenced in hearings before yet, but that would be sort of a, hey, they're hearing us kind of moment. But they're definitely reading it and they're asking questions.
Kevin, I would add a couple things. So during the session, so as a CAC committee member, we're not allowed to, in that capacity, be for or against any particular bill. However, as a private citizen, you're welcome to do the advocacy however you see fit. You know, I think kind of picking up on what Amy said, one of the uses of a report is to be able to put that information out there to the public and let groups that are in an advocacy role be able to point to that in addition to their own work to support their advocacy in certain areas. One thing I would mention is the Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities. One of its statutory requirements is to point to state bodies, strategic plans and recommendations and things like that. So if you go to gov.texas.gov/disabilities, they should have links to our report, hopefully be published. The newer one will be published soon, as well as, you know, the Developmental Disabilities Council and their, of course, their own policy recommendations and kind of down the list. So that's a great place to kind of link out to what other groups are doing that, you know, may directly or indirectly affect students with disabilities in the not just K-12 that we kind of focus on, but even in higher education. So, and then, so that's kind of during the session. Then after the session, there's usually a period where everybody's going like, okay, what does that all mean for us? So would expect Stephanie and Kristen will try to give us that information as soon as they know what the legislature provided in terms of funding, provided in terms of guidance on what they want to see and what they're, you know, requiring, what changes they may require and so forth. So June is typically a little early to know exactly what's going on, but we may have the outlines of things. And of course, that assumes that things don't get pushed into special sessions after our June date, in which case we'll just have to do it in our third quarter meeting.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Stephanie, will you send out that information from Monarch, so we don't have to pull it from the chat.
Sure.
Um, Janie, are you ready with the minutes, or do you need more time?
Well, I'm sorry.
Actually, can we discuss that? Did we discuss at all a possible meeting dates for June?
No.
Oh,
we
yeah,
haven't yet.
that's true.
Yeah.
We need to, because that's summer break for me and I'm gonna be out for, that way I know if I schedule it, I black it out. And I know
Right.
it's the same thing for the other people that work at ESCs or in the several ISDs.
So we're looking in June, correct?
That's what I put out there as still being in the second quarter and meeting that obligation, but kind of getting hopefully as much knowledge about what the legislature has done to that point as possible.
Does anybody want to propose a date? Amy, do you want to propose a date? Erin, do you want to propose a date?
I could throw out a few just to see what might or might not work for folks. So maybe the 17th, 18th. I don't know if we're doing today as a Wednesday, so let's put the 17th, 18th. I don't know if the 19th is a day off for folks, or we could do 24th, 25th. Is any one of those weeks better or worse for folks?
I will be out on the 17th and the 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Okay.
So anybody have any objections to the 18th?
I can do that.
Okay. I have 1, 18th is good. 2, 18th is good. 3, 18th works.
18th is
4.
good for me.
Okay. Okay. Now, if, of course, this all depends on the ESC's availability. Do we want an alternative date in case that date does not work for ESC 13? What about the 20th? That's a Friday. The 19th, I believe, is a holiday. Is it Juneteenth on the 19th?
Yes.
So some folks may be closed. Yeah, it's a national holiday. So what about the 20th? Would that work as an alternative date?
Yes.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. All right. Adrian's not available on the 20th. So we have one no. We could look at the 23rd. That's a Monday. Would that work better? Anybody have any conflicts on the 23rd?
That actually works better for me than the 18th.
Yeah, Lori can't ever do a Monday. Yeah, I know Lori have a conflict with Mondays. Then alternatively, it would be Friday the 27th. Any objections to Friday the 27th? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a hard time because I know a lot of people go on vacations. Fridays are hard for people. Some people don't work on Fridays in the summer. So, so far the only concrete date we have is the 18th. We could go sooner. I mean, we kind of went down the calendar, but we can go up the calendar if you prefer. We could look at June 11th.
Who is not available in May? Maybe we can do it beforehand.
Well, I think they wanted to see, because legislature is in session, if we could have some
Oh.
possible answers. I mean, I could be wrong about that. You guys can meet whenever you would like to meet. I have no say so on that. I just make the arrangements. But I had proposed the 11th.
I could do the 11th.
Okay.
We could also go into
What is the
July.
11th?
Yeah, that's true. You could go the other way. April can't do the 11th. Okay. Can't make the 11th through the 13th. Okay, so the 11th is off. Do you want to look at July?
July is the third
Yes,
quarter
that would
now.
be good.
Okay, yeah, I know you've got the 4th of
Is our
July.
statute, Stephanie, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you know, is our statute, when we say meet quarterly, does that mean literally has to be in the quarter, or does it just mean 4 times a year functionally?
I think it says 4 times a year.
Okay,
I could pull up the bylaws real quick, but that's my recollection, but I could be wrong.
So we're looking in July then.
Yeah, I think you guys will get in July.
I could do Wednesday the 9th or Thursday the 10th. Or the 16th.
Yeah, it just says, I'm sorry, it says the annual schedule of regular meetings will be no less than 4 meetings each year. It doesn't specifically say it's got to be in the quarter.
okay, good to know,
So
thank you.
Yeah, I think you guys are good if you want to go into July. So I'm sorry, I was looking that up, so I don't know what your votes are about July. April, is the ESC closed in July? Your ESC? No, okay, I know some ESCs are, so all right.
Looks like the 16th is getting some traction.
Okay. Okay, I could use that as a second date. And I don't know if ESC 13 closes. I can't remember if they close for a break, but I'll let you guys know. So I'll check June 18th as the best date, and then July 16th as our second date, and I'll let you guys know. I'll send you a calendar invite with that date whenever it gets approved by ESC 13.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Janie, do you need a few minutes or are you good?
I'm sorry, Amy, the second date was July 19th or the 16th?
The 16th.
Okay, got it. 9. And let me know if you're seeing it because I'm sharing my entire screen. Okay, it won't let me. There. Can you see it?
Yes, now,
Yes.
yeah.
Joanne is no longer a member. She resigned, so she's not absent.
Okay. There you go.
We don't have to officially vote on our meeting dates, do we?
No, you set those dates. You can determine those dates.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Who,
It was April.
oh, I was April. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Lori, a second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed?
Okay, who seconded the motion to approve the minutes? I'm sorry, let me include it.
It was Lori. That's okay.
Oh, okay, sorry, Lori.
That's all right.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
This is Kevin. I motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
This is Lori, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, with that, I thank you for your participation in our February meeting, and I look forward to seeing you this summer.
Thank you. Stay warm, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
You.
Amy, thank you for your dedication. I chickened out. I was gonna go out there, but it was too cold for me.